Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Formula. This is our running back. Corey, you okay there?
Yeah, you blew my eardrums out. Wait,
Coming
hang
in
on.
with
Wait,
a
no.
splash.
No, but that's good though, because we had that one comment, it's like you guys are dull.
Yeah.
So
I got to bring my helium balloon. We don't have bring enough energy. So, um, yeah, this is our running back episode, running back prospect episode for the NFL draft. So we will each, we did our quarterbacks last episode. We'll still have to do wide receivers and tight ends. But we'll go ahead and each give you our top 5 prospects for the NFL draft. We'll first touch on some free agency stuff. So Derek Carr just went to the Saints.
Congratulations.
Haha.
BB,
Yeah.
can we just a round of congratulations?
Yeah.
Blow clap
Signing
it
Derek
for me.
Carr. Well
Okay.
done.
Yeah, it was basically like my worst outcome was getting him because I just we're going to be stuck in mediocrity for years, probably win the division, but it's like we don't have a chance at a Super Bowl, and then we won't have a great draft. It's just a terrible situation to be in.
Being a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Even
The
a-
best part about this whole thing, and I love that you called out your own mediocrity, is like PB will talk trash all off season if your team isn't the front runner, and it'll be like, enjoy being mediocre for the rest of your life, loser. Ha ha ha. And like karma's coming back to slap you in the face so hard. So it's like the irony of the situation just couldn't be any more perfect.
But there's not a single person in this video that can say that their team isn't anything other than mediocre or bad. So
Why don't we just wait till next year and see? Okay.
yeah, Corey,
We
what?
got a long off season ahead.
yeah, it was just long off season. You know what's gonna happen.
Yep. But we'll go
Corey's getting
ahead.
Bryce Young.
Mediocre, as I said. And all right, so we will go ahead and what other free agent stuff we got? We got Danny Dimes, massive deal. That's another.
Calvin Ridley's back. I'm excited
Calvin.
for that fantasy impact. I think him and Trevor Lawrence are going to be really fun together.
Oh yeah, that.
Corey,
gonna
thoughts
be-
on Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence in the division now?
Yeah, I mean he'll probably be out again and throw another parlay together with him.
That's his
He'll be
only-
watching fantasy football.
He's
Formula
watching our
for
show
his-
right now, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, he's taking bets on himself. It is what it is. Maybe he comes in, he just, he sucks after, taking off a year. You never know. So
Could
we'll
be.
see what
That's
happens.
true.
And then we had
Lamar.
Saquon franchise tag, Lamar's franchise tagged, and multiple teams already said they're not interested. So that's going to be a very
makes
interesting shakeup.
Makes no sense to me whatsoever. How
Bears having a great offseason. Aaron Rodgers is going to move out of the division finally.
hopefully
So
NFC is wide open. I'll say that it's been like the most historically weak conference in I don't know any recent memory, and the AFC is like loaded. But Rodgers probably gonna be a Jet. That's what it's seeming like. Any other free agency stuff?
Just like cap casualties.
yeah.
Carson Wentz let go. Frank Clark let go.
Yeah.
Orlando Brown.
Yep.
Junior.
Frank Clark.
Yeah.
So
I think
that'll be more.
that's it
That'll be
right
more
now.
for a free agency episode, like when we start to see where these guys land. But those are just our kind of our initial thoughts. Really, just us beating on each other for free agency and what's happened so far. But now we'll go ahead and break down our running back prospects. We all pretty much have. I mean, there's only a few differences at the bottom end, but we pretty much all have similar guys here. I mean, the number one, I don't think we'll all have to talk too long about this.
Yeah. Everyone knows.
yeah, let me pick up this one. I mean,
Texas.
I think I deserve the credit. Longhorns fan. I mean, on the original Xbox, screen name was Longhorn ND. Catch me on Twitch. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching Bijan Robinson the past couple of years. This year, you saw the offense kind of be more pass heavy with Quinn Ewers, and the guy still put up almost 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, just insane. And I think I'm even more excited I get to play him now in fantasy. going to be locking him into every league I have. I think he's got the upside of a Saquon or a Le'Veon Bell, and his running style kind of represents that patient runner. He's not going to blow the combine out of the water and, pick up all this hype from that. But I think if you go back and watch the tape, he's a true running back and a phenomenal one at that. So
Yeah.
Bijan rhymes with Parmesan, and he's about to make me that cheddar.
Oh, gosh.
So wait, hang
Up
on.
one of Corey's
With-
rhymes,
With Bijan, so late first round is what I mean. That was before he had his combine. He kind of
I
came
think
in.
he's gonna be a first rounder.
I think he is. He came in a little bit underwhelming, with his 40 time, and he did lose some weight there, but I think he goes first round. I mean, there's a lot of teams at that back end. That's the glory thing about the back end of the draft. Obviously, it's the high end teams who are missing a piece or two, and he can easily come in and be the piece that helps them reach the ultimate goal, going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, that's
so-
where we'll disagree, but
Okay,
no
that-
running back should be taken in the first round ever. I just predict he will because that's what NFL teams do. He's not worth a first rounder, but yes, he's the best back in the
he's worth a 28 to 32th pick. So
32.
32th.
He's
We're
worth
at the dentist
he's
today,
worth-
or what?
But yeah, no, because he's worth the second and the first round pick. He's a 32th.
worth a 32.
Yeah. So
32nd.
Listen, he's not. This is coming from someone who believes Bijan immediately out of the gate. I think as a rookie, he's going to be a top 3 back, possibly the best back in the league. And I don't think he's worth a first rounder.
I think
I
that
don't think it-
depends on what team he goes to. If
Yeah.
you see the Eagles snag him, like behind the best offensive line in the country,
Yeah, I
then,
mean-
I think he's got a
Oh,
shot at top
maybe he
3
can-
for sure.
Yeah, maybe he can replicate the Eagles' 2,000 yards and 18 touchdowns they had last year, rushing
Easy.
without him.
Yeah.
We'll see. Probably not. And this is such a this is such a deep running back class. Like you can get the Eagles could get any of these guys behind that O line and they're gonna crush it. But Bijan, unanimous number 1 best back.
In the
Generation
NFL, in the NFL, like 10 years ago, before you saw offenses switch to really pass-heavy schemes, I think Bijan's no doubt the number 1 pick. Like 10 years ago, he would have gone first for
Mhm.
sure.
First overall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
10 years ago, PB.
Yeah,
Before you started watching
you didn't
football.
really,
Yeah.
you don't respect the days of the Chris Johnsons, the Jamal Charles,
It's a different league.
With
Go
Damian
back
Tomlinson,
10
all
years
these
ago and
guys
tell me
were just
whenever elite
electric.
running backs were the reasons teams won Super Bowls.
That was the entire. They didn't throw the ball.
Pretty much the entire
Right.
history of the NFL.
Okay. Show me those stats. I don't think you'll find them.
No,
Um,
that.
All right.
that- oh, okay, but we'll move
Yeah.
on because you're just
There was always a good QB, which is
No one's disagreeing with that. Tom Brady has like over half of those in the
that's
last.
true.
So
That's
like no one's disagreeing with that. But back in the ground and pound days, defense and running the ball is what won.
yeah.
Mike Allstott, if you're watching this, please reach out to us and we'll get you to remind PB why running backs matter.
We'll get
Edwin
him-
James.
definitely don't
Heard of
know.
him? Marshall
him.
Falk.
Madrill.
Ever heard of him?
doesn't matter. Saquon better than all of them. Doesn't matter.
Different league though, but yeah.
Would you do an Oklahoma drill for content with Mike Allstott?
Sure.
He might be 55, but I think he could still break every single bone in your body.
Yeah. All right. Second running back. We also have a unanimous RB2. And he's probably most people's RB2. So, we're not really providing any new insight there, but it's Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about Gibbs, and any Alabama running back in recent years, they've been definitely much better than they have. You've always had that. Okay. The one prime example is Trent Richardson, who was
Ooh,
a freak
I
in
knew you were
college.
going to bring him up.
But the reason was because everyone's like, oh my God, he's so good. Well, because the offensive line of Alabama has always been the best thing there. And they've always had top 5 draft picks from that offensive line over how many years it's been. So with Gibbs, I don't think the offensive line this year at Alabama was, I mean, it's still really good, but was it like it was in years in past? Definitely not. So that definitely gives me a little more hoping and like he can be also just as, relevant as, Bijan with Gibbs, and you can get him a little bit later than Bijan. So you save yourself some, money and take him on the back end of, mid-second round. So I like Gibbs, all, well-rounded back out of Alabama. I mean, can't really go wrong.
On top of that, he was involved in the pass game quite a bit.
Oh yeah, he's
a dual threat
he's
RB.
probably the best pass catcher.
Yeah, I would agree with that out of this class. For
Yeah.
sure.
To me, he's like a better.
And I saw one of the. I mean, I was going to say during his draft interview, he compared himself to Alvin Kamara, who,
yeah, that's a good comp.
kind of a good pass catcher. He's really light on his feet. I think, if you go back and watch the combine tape, he's, he looks like a Cadillac out there, just smooth as could be. And yeah, I think he's got good fantasy upside for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a valuable fantasy guy with his pass catching upside.
Just as it goes somewhere relevant.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, to me, he's Alvin Kamara I think is a really good comp. Not as big as him, but
Only
like
I think is a good comp too.
and Deebo Samuel, I think, even though Deebo's a receiver, like I think he's very similar in that way.
Yeah, multi-tool weapon.
Okay. So this is where some of us, few of us have the same, but start to differ a little bit. So we'll start with who wants to go first with their RB3?
I've got Devin Achane out of
Let's go ahead.
Was that? Oh,
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah. I got Achane out of A&M. Ran a 4.32 40. Super fast back. The one knock on him is he's a little bit smaller than some of these other guys. He's 5'8", 180, but I think he makes up for that with his speed. And he's done a little bit of pass catching out of the backfield as well. Not at the level of Gibbs, but he was targeted 36 times, 24 catches in the last 2 seasons. Just a speed demon. Player comp I saw online that I liked a little bit was Raheem Mostert. It's kind of a guy who behind a good line can
lightning quick.
Yeah, can utilize his speed and get going in the open field.
Yeah. It looks like you might have been. Yeah, you were the only one that had him as your third. I'll go second because then you and Nick and Corey have the same guy. I have Roschon, and Nick, coming from being a Texas guy, I'm surprised you don't have him in your top 5 because if he didn't have to split the backfield with Bijan, yes, Bijan is better than Roschon, but we could be talking about this guy possibly as the best back if Bijan wasn't there. And he had an insane missed tackle rate. Despite seeing I think he saw some of the most loaded boxes while having one of the highest missed tackle rates. And he still had a good year. Like to me, and this is a guy that can run between the tackles extremely well. Like what tell me, Nick, why don't you have him in your top 5?
Yeah, I definitely think he's a good prospect. I think that, we mentioned it earlier, it's just a very deep running back class. And I think if you're going to go for, a second, third round running back, you want to see a complete season as the bell cow back in college. So I think just that's the only reason I don't have him in my top 5. It's not that I don't like him. He's very slippery, makes a lot of people miss. But we also have to put a little caveat on that it's the Big 12 defenses that he's facing. So I don't think he's going to have the same success as that in the NFL, which is why I don't think some of his raw talent is going to carry him more than some of these other guys.
But he played on the same team as Bijan.
Right. But you know what I mean? Like he wasn't even close. Like Bijan's a patient runner. He waits for his blocks. He shows a lot more of the
Roschon
IQ that you want to see in
Roschon,
your running
I believe,
backs.
Actually had a better missed tackle rate than Bijan, but
but I just don't think he's going to be able to replicate that at the next level is what I'm saying.
Well,
so
I like
relying on the missed tackle rate for a prospect to me just seems a little bit riskier, especially out of the Big 12.
Okay. Well, you and Corey have the same guy as 3. So Corey, who is it?
Yeah, it's gonna be Zach Cabernet. I know that's not how you pronounce his last name, but
He is from a California school, so
it's
I like
Charbonnet.
like that.
Charbonnet. Yeah, I have him there. He's a pretty his stats in college are don't jump off the page. I think he does everything pretty. He's a pretty well-rounded back. I honestly see him being a really good change of back in the NFL. Not anything like he might become like an average starter. But he does everything right outside of, just being what a running back is. His 40 time was, decent. There's a 4.5, not like he has lightning speed.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's big. So he kind of
is a big running back.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like the change of back pace, like of kind of like an AJ Dillon type. So that's why I have him there. And if there's anything like AJ Dillon, or even a fraction of what AJ Dillon is, he'll definitely be a solid back for years to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not elite in any one category, but he's great in pretty much all of them. I think he actually had really impressive college stats. Even as a freshman, he played at Michigan and he transferred because Blake Corum came in. But, he was putting up 700 yards against Big Ten defenses when he was 18. So I think, the production's there. And he's been able to put 4 good years together. So I like what he's done. I think he continues it at the next level. I don't think he has that, elite ability to be a game changer like at the NFL level, but I think he's a good, strong running back. So definitely a great third down guy.
Yeah, he was my number 4, and you guys touched on everything I was going to mention. AJ Dillon was also my player count for him. Just a big SOB.
Yeah. He's right outside of. I actually don't have him in my top 5. He's like right outside of it, but yeah, I think if put in the right situation, he can definitely have some success. My 4th guy is your 3rd guy, Devon Chain. And I mean, yeah, he's the fastest running back in this draft. He ran like a 10-second 100-yard dash. The only reason why I really like him, but I don't have him I have Roschon over him. He just isn't like an elite pass catching guy. But he has the vision, can run between the tackles, but due to his blocking and not being a 3-down back, I have Roschon ahead of him. But yeah, I mean, this guy could definitely turn into something. Just lightning quick.
I think he's the type of guy too who might end up on one of these already really solid teams in the league.
Yeah, that's true.
Like on a later 2nd round, mid 3rd round, maybe. But one of these teams that's pretty loaded around the board, and so they're like, hey, we could use another speed guy, another weapon, and he gets put into a really good spot.
Yeah. And it looks like, so Corey, who do you have 4th?
For 4th, I'm gonna have Tank, who is Tank Bisbee out of Auburn here. I like him as just an overall back. I don't think there's a lot of speeds. I mean, there's a couple speedsters, but there's a lot of guys who are well rounded. Again, this guy came in 6 foot, 212 pounds. Again, average 40 for a running back, 4.56. Not like he's going to blow anyone out of the water here. But he got a lot of work at Auburn, again, in the SEC, and he did extremely well when he was there. There's a couple of people he could put in front of him, but, I mean, he had 20 touchdowns in his 2 years of starting, 25 touchdowns total at Auburn. And that was on a bad team. Like, he was like the bright spot at Auburn. Again, I think he's just, going to be an average running back in the NFL, but I think he can turn into a good change of pace back for a really good team and have success at, like, I think in Buffalo or in Philly.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to piggyback off the SEC running backs here, and I have a guy out of Ole Miss, Zach Evans, a really patient, high IQ runner. He'll run you over, but I think the thing I like most about him is like he's able to just like make the most out of every play. He reminds me a lot of Nick Chubb. He's got the power to run you over, and he's going to sit behind his blockers and wait for the hole, and then he could just, explode right through. So he's definitely got the quickness to compete at the NFL level. He's got the strength to keep him in games. And I like his high football IQ here for kind of a mid-tier guy.
Okay. And I guess, Alex, you had one of these guys, Corey's guy.
At 5, I'd Tank Bigsby. Yeah, Corey touched on all of it. Plus, I mean, who doesn't want to root for a guy named Tank Bigsby?
Great name.
At running back too, like just so fitting. But yeah.
Okay. I have Deuce Vaughn.
Love
A
it.
lot of people like, he plays running back. He's small. You don't typically want like guys this small, but I think he's the best gadget guy. Like, he's an elite pass catcher. He's like a Darren Sproles is like the perfect comp, but I think he's a better pass catcher than Sproles. So he's my 5th guy.
He's for sure going to have some really fun highlights.
Oh yeah,
he is an electric football player. If he was like
fun to watch.
Yeah, if he was like standard running back size.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't know if he have that same twitch if he was bigger. Which,
yeah, I like that. What makes him good? He's got that low center of gravity. No one can tackle him.
True.
He is so small out there, though. Like, he's just gonna look like this little bean, like running on the field next to these massive guys. What I actually need to look at, I think he's like, might be like 5'5".
He measured at 5'5".
Okay,
That's insane.
yeah.
Wow. What was Sproles? Was
I
Sproles
think he was
He's like 5'4", something 5'6".
No, Sproles was not 5'4".
Darren Sproles.
Oh, I thought you meant Lionel Messi.
5'6".
5'6". Yeah.
5'6".
And Boston Scott is, I think, the current smallest guy. He's 5'6" as well.
It was hilarious, dude. My mom is 5'4". She is so tiny.
You got Deuce out there.
So small out there.
Like I imagine him like, he's a guy that a team like the Chiefs would just do incredible things with. Like, there's certain teams that this guy would fit really well as like a gadget guy and really utilizing his pass catching ability.
Yeah.
Because to me, running backs, like, I really like guys that can catch the ball like out of the backfield. And that's why sometimes I'll rank guys over, and that's why I have Deuce in the top 5.
It helps a lot in today's NFL. Like, It's pretty necessary for a running back to be able to have at least formidable hands. Like, he doesn't have to be a lead receiver, but he's got.
No, yeah, no, I definitely agree. But I mean, doesn't size sort of matter though?
Doesn't.
I mean, you said young. I mean, he's too small to play in the NFL.
Yeah, but tell me, Corey, do you want to read off the list of guys that I've sent to you, 1st-round picks at his size smaller, have had success in the NFL and with his skill set? There is zero.
Just saying, you can't be
throwing serious.
You can't be saying stuff like,
different positions are different. Like,
they get hit by the same people. It's not different. If anything, a running back gets hit more by the
quarterback size has to do with them throwing the ball in their vision. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
we're done. We're not talking about Bryce Young. Try to throw that in here. No, running back is a completely different position.
Running backs matter. Hashtag.
They do not.
RBs matter.
But to end this segment, well, no, looks like
I didn't get to my 5th guy.
And Corey and Nick have the same guy. Nick. I feel like I have the same.
I'm going to tell you why RBs matter, and we saw it in the national championship game. We didn't see TCU Horned Frogs superstar legend Kendre Miller. 1,600 yards, 17 touchdowns. The guy was an absolute monster. Yes. I think he's the 2nd best pass catcher in this class behind Gibbs. And the reason the Horned Frogs even made it to the national championship in the first place. So, Corey, let's say it together. Little RBs matter.
RBs matter.
Throw a little hashtag in there.
Yeah, but
Hashtag.
this actually, after you said that, is it shows they don't, because of how many incredible running backs we've named that would all have success behind a great offensive line. So you don't need to use an early pick. There is so and this
Miller
is just-
Miller is my 5th pick because I like his vision. Again, not very explosive. That's kind of the theme of this draft. There's not like many explosive running backs, but he still did pretty well at the combine. But his injury there at the end definitely kind of hurt him, and maybe his draft capital. But above average size for an NFL running back. He doesn't have the explosive speed to be safeties and corners, but he has the speed away. The good getaway speed from the linebackers, and like I said, his vision is very.
He can win the edge.
Yeah, and having vision in the NFL is almost just important as, or even more important than your overall skills and attributes. Because again, I'll bring him up. Trent Richardson, freak of an athlete, had zero vision. There's many of pictures out there of him completely missing holes. So Miller is my 5th pick, and I think he can go a little bit higher, to be honest. Can sneak into like even the 3 or 4.
Okay. And before we wrap up this episode, just some honorable mentions of some other running backs that can just be also great. We have Dwayne McBride, Sean Tucker, Tyjae Spears, Keaton Mitchell, Kenny McIntosh. Those are just to name a few more that you can take much, much, much later in the draft.
I think Tyjae Spears is going to be a sneaky stud in the league.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
he feels like the small conference guy who could potentially be a superstar.
right. And so, extremely deep, as we've discussed. Save those draft picks, use them on some of these later guys, and that's how you should do it. But that'll wrap up this episode of our top 5 prospects at the running back position for the 2023 NFL draft. Stay tuned. We'll be releasing our tight end episode next.